What's going on, YouTube? Welcome back. As you guys know, per my last video, we recently picked up this 2006 Chrysler 300C SRT8. Now, I found this vehicle on Facebook Marketplace, and like all listings on Facebook Marketplace, everyone always wants to say that their car is turnkey, it's in excellent condition, and it needs nothing. So I was talking back and forth with the seller of this car, trying to get an idea of the true condition of the vehicle before I made the 4.5-hour trip out there with my buddy Al to go pick it up. I spoke to him about the interior, the exterior, the tires, the wheels. I asked him just about everything I possibly could to make sure that with my trip out to Detroit, it would be worth my time and that this car was truly as mint as the seller claimed it was. Upon further inspection of our arrival there in Detroit to look at this thing, we found out that it is indeed not as mint as the seller claimed it was. So I'm going to go in this video, I'm going to show you guys what we were able to pick out of this car, what we saw we didn't like, what we want to fix, as well as future plans for the channel and this car. I'm going to go ahead and break down just about everything. Now, I know the word scammed is pretty dramatic, and I would use it here kind of loosely, but in a sense, I did have a feeling of like I kind of got scammed because, like I said, I talked to the seller and I went over these things with him over and over and over again, and he kept just saying it was excellent. It's me, nothing to worry about. So we'll get into it. I'm going to show you guys everything. Let's talk about it. So first things first, anytime I'm buying a used vehicle, one of the first things I like to look at are the tires on the vehicle. Obviously, tires could be a hidden expense, over $1,000 for some cars for tires. So that was one of the first things I drew my attention to when approaching it. Upon inspection, I was able to notice right away that these tires are dry rotted. Yes, the tread is good on them, but they are dry rotted to all hell. The wheels also, about 3 out of 4 of them are severely curb rash. So that was something I noticed right away. I'm going to need new tires, as well as I'm going to have to either powder coat these wheels or get them refinished in order for them to look as good as new. Making my way to the front of the car, I was able to look at the front and look at the headlights as well as the fog lights. Now, the headlights themselves are in pretty good condition. We're going to shine them up a little bit, but they're not cracked. There's no condensation, so it shouldn't be too bad. However, the fog lights are very fogged up, very cloudy, and the one on the passenger side is actually cracked. So for a mint car in excellent condition, I wasn't expecting to see stuff like that. Moving on, I was able to inspect the trim over here. Looks like the car was left out in the sun. Some of this trim is very faded, very dull. It's like dry, as well as this windshield wiper cowl located here at the bottom of the windshield. Very faded, and even when we looked at it at a closer look on the passenger side, it's actually cracked. So we ordered the part for that. I'm going to slap that on. We got to get a new windshield wiper cowl, and hopefully it looks good as new. And I understand, I know I'm pretty specific when I talk about my cars. I'm very anal about them. I don't like curb rash. I don't like, scratched up paint, nothing like that. So when this guy was telling me this car is excellent, it's mint and all that, I was kind of picturing it was in the condition of what my 2004 Lincoln Town car was. When I had my 2004 Lincoln Town car, it was a mint example of a used car. The headlights were crystal clear. There was nothing funny going around with the paint. It was no swirls in it at all. The rims were not scratched up or scuffed up. It was a really clean example of a used car. So when I was going back and forth communicating with this seller about this Chrysler 300, I was kind of thinking I was going to get something that was turnkey, needed nothing. That was my hope. But it's not my first rodeo. I've bought vehicles off Facebook Marketplace before, and I always know to budget and have some money on the side for things like brakes, rotors, tires, any other body work or things it might need, etc. So despite all of these things I noticed upon arriving there and meeting up with the seller, I was still very adamant about getting the car. The reason for that was a lot of the stuff obviously I'm pointing out is minor things that we're able to fix. And when it comes to the mechanically and the bones of the car, it is very good. It's a lower mileage example of these Chrysler 300 SRT8s. You don't see these around every day, and if you do see them around, they're messed up, they've been in accidents, they've had 100 owners, they've had a ton of body work done, and they're kind of just clapped out. This one is like basically in a one owner, very low mileage, and it drove very nice. There was no weird vibrations or pulling of any kind. The motor was peppy, it didn't lag, it was going through the transmission fine, shifting gears. So although the cosmetic stuff kind of turned me off, I knew in the deep down that we're able to get this thing kind of cleaned up, mint, and it's going to be running good as well as looking good shortly. Now, we do obviously have a plan for this car. First things first, we are taking it over to one of Al's buddies. He's a mechanic down the road from the shop. He's an SRT mechanic. We're going to have him take this car for about a day. He's going to throw it up on the lift. He's going to look at everything, go through everything, and tell me what it needs, if anything. Following that, he's going to go ahead and go through all the fluids on the car as well as the spark plugs. Although it's a lower mileage car, that kind of does mean it sat quite a bit. It looks like it was basically a summer car because there's not any rust on the bottom of it. So with it sitting and that fluid sitting stagnant in the car, it's always important when you get a used vehicle to just go ahead and clean out that old fluid and get fresh stuff in there so you know you're good to go. So following this car going over to the mechanic, we're actually going to go shoot it over to a tint shop down the street. This thing right now is a complete fishbowl. I always like to have window tint on my cars. Not too sure the percentage I'm going to go with this one. I typically like to keep it around 20, 35%, but I used to really black out my windows and do limo tint. On this specific vehicle, I'm not sure yet. I don't know, maybe I'll surprise you guys. We'll see what I come up with, but we definitely need some window tint after we take it to the mechanic. Now, following the mechanic, as well as following the window tint, we are going to end with the car right here at Auto Enhancement Pros. Those of you that saw Al in my first video about this car, Al is he's a detail guy. He's got his own shop out here in the south suburbs of Chicago in Orland Park. And he was the one that actually went with me, as you saw, to come look at this thing. And he is a miracle worker. I wanted to bring Al because he could look at a car and kind of look at the paint and tell me straight up, hey, could this be fixed? Or, hey, Nick, it's not going to work. It's too far gone. Al looked this thing over. He looked at the paint. He looked at the swirls. And he basically reassured me that, hey, man, it's going to take a little bit of elbow grease, but I will be able to get this thing looking nice. And that's what I'm looking forward to. So mechanic work will be done. We will get the window tint, and we will end it here with Al throwing it up on the lift, detailing it, detailing the underside, as well as ordering some new tires and wheels. Now, I've seen people do different stuff with the wheels. I know that the new common thing is blacking them out. I like the look of it. I'm not sure if I'm going to do that. There's also the option of obviously just refinishing them and leaving it that machine finish as they come stock. And I was even looking at chrome. So out of those three options, I'm not sure yet, but as always with the channel, I will keep you guys updated and I will be posting videos as soon as I'm getting this car back and as soon as I have an update for you guys. But basically, that's everything. Those are the minor cosmetic things we're going to work on, but we're going to get her all sound and dialed in, as I like to say, and kind of get this thing on the road and ready for the summer. Now, like I said, I know I could be kind of particular with my cars, but if there's anything you could take out of this video, just be sure that when you're traveling or you're buying a private party sale of a car off Facebook Marketplace, try to do as much research as you can. Pull the Carfax, get the guy on the phone, ask him about curb rash, ask him about tires. Obviously, you can never foolproof something. I did all those things. He told me everything was fine, and I still ended up with some pretty dry rotted and curb rash rims. But try to give yourself the peace of mind. Do your research. Pull the Carfax always, and always make sure it's a clean title and there's no funny stuff going on with cars. You could find some really nice stuff on Facebook Marketplace, but you just got to kind of go through everything with a fine-tooth comb and really make sure everything checks out. But as always, guys, thank you so much for checking out the channel. Thanks for checking out the video. I appreciate you guys stopping by. Thank you for all the new love we just got in the first video of the Chrysler 300. You guys were showing tremendous support, so I'm anxious to get more content out for you. If you want to see the build and follow along, please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell notification for future videos. And as always, we will see you guys on the next video. Peace!